you know, between the hours of 01 and 04, for safety's sake, because there might be a possible mortar attack, certain lights are going to be turned off inside the walls so we don't illuminate a target for them. The next morning, I walk out there and two of these Humvees are stripped down so far, it looked like they were left in Detroit. Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode live from the Lair. I never get tired of saying that. All right, we're coming up on the end of my time as the NCOIC security for Abu Ghraib prison. There are a couple of stories that are popping up in regards to this, and there's probably dozens that I have forgotten that I'll backtrack and talk about down the road. But you know, what was going on there, you know, in March, April of 2004, there were a lot of vehicles that were getting shot up. And we had about, I would say at one point we had as many as 6 vehicles just left inside the walls of the prison. And people were gonna come back and return them or get them. And you know, it is what it is. I mean, if you leave them out on the sector, then they're gonna get, you know, booby trapped, and you know, EOD will probably just blow them up anyway. And they're right in the middle of upgrading people to up armor Humvees. So my unit did get a few of those. I believe they got those at the end of April. Towards the end of April, we got a few. And they were rode hard and put to bed wet, man. They were fucked up when we got them. Vehicles were, I mean, the brakes were shit. I mean, there was all kinds of problems. You know, and you know, even though I wasn't technically, you know, I was still assigned to the 425. I wasn't supposed to like talk to anybody from the 425 because, you know, Worthless and his lapdog were running it like a fucking knitting circle, and you know, which is really fucking stupid. You know, everyone was pissed at me because I wrote the AAR and caused all this fucking problems. And the men were cool with it because they knew the deal. But you know, Worthless and Lapdog and a couple of other of the officers were mad. And I don't give a fuck. So fuck them. I mean, I was just an E8. Why the fuck is an E8 having to fucking contact the Pentagon when I have a major and like I believe 2 captains and like 3 first lieutenants above me that should have been fucking pitching a fucking royal bitch, but they didn't, you know. And you know, what are you gonna do? You know, the officer side is a little more, you know, stiff on guys who do shit like that. That's probably why it's the officer corps is so fucked up today and toxic. But you know, unless a guy does it, you know, they can put their boot on your neck for a while, but you know, what are you gonna do? So, you know, the 152 artillery had set up their, you know, backyard makeshift motor pool repair kit area, which was fucking outstanding. And, you know, our vehicles were getting moved over there. You know, I worked out all the drug deals to make sure to get it to happen, because the 202 just was not fucking doing their fucking deal. I mean, their motor pool was absolute shit. The master sergeant who ran that thing was a fucking idiot. And everyone's, you know, said it was fine, but, you know, I mean, when shit's not getting fixed, you're falling up, you know, behind hard times. I'm waking people up on sleep cycle just so they have to stand next to their vehicle to undo lug nuts. I mean, fuck that. That's bullshit. I mean, that's rear. When you're in the rear, you know, you do that stuff, or when you have a dedicated driver, that's all he does is he's assigned to a vehicle and he's responsible for it. I can see those kind of, you know, things coming into play, but you know, other than that, that was just fucking stupid. You know, I believe First Platoon was picking up convoy security, and they were driving the up armors a majority of the time. And it got to the point where some of the up armors, when you hit the brakes, you'd see sparks. I mean, it was metal on metal. I mean, and sometimes they'd run a vehicle in the middle of a convoy just so like it could bounce up against the bumper of the one behind it to slow it down. That's unacceptable. That is so beyond a Circle X. And gentlemen, if you don't know what a Circle X is, when you do a PMCS, which is like a primary check of your vehicle, there are certain deficiencies that are on the vehicle that you are just not allowed to fucking operate. And functional brakes is one of them. And it is such an egregious fucking deficiency that if the brakes aren't working, not even the commander can Circle exit. And what that means is if you exit as deadline, your commander can come behind you, circle the X and say, fuck it, take it anyway. Okay. So that was fucking crazy. And dudes were flipping out, which rightfully so. And you know what? And I ran the fucking security, and I remember I talked to the guys at the 152 and I said, there's some vehicles that are fucking, abandoned, I guess. They've been there for a couple weeks. I don't know. I mean, they're like, well, we're not supposed to scavenge. And I'm like, I didn't say scavenge. No, that word never came out of my mouth. But, between the hours of 01 and 04, for safety's sake, because there might be a possible mortar attack, certain lights are going to be turned off inside the walls so we don't illuminate a target for them. What are you going to do? Soldiers got to do what a soldier's got to do. So, the next morning, I walk out there and two of these Humvees are stripped down so far, it looked like they were left in Detroit. I knew there was going to be hell to pay. I knew it. So, I didn't say nothing about it. I got a hold of Staff Sergeant Carmel because he worked in supply for years. And we put together a packet for each of the Humvees that were fucked up, basically saying that they were, a combat loss, and wrote up the witness statements and all the other shit. And we had them ready on the side, just in case somebody came to get the vehicles, which eventually, they got, I think it was like 3 or 4 of them. One of them was still there when I left. It was there for like months, which is beyond me. But well, hey, it wasn't my unit. However they run their business is their business. I can't tell you how many times soldiers move around and operate around the system and nobody says anything. It's more like it's implied, you stop your foot 3 times. And they're like, oh, yeah, I got it now. Roger that. So anyway, and it was maybe a week and a half later, I had this first lieutenant show up, and he's literally almost in tears, totally frantic, freaking the fuck out. And I walk out there, I'm like, yeah, what can I do for you, sir? He's like, I fucking left 2 vehicles here, and they're nothing but fucking frames. I'm trying not to laugh. And I'm like, oh, well, are you sure that they were not like that when they were dragged in here? He's like, we rolled them in here. And he had one of his guys there was like, MS Sergeant, we rolled them in here, so, I'm like, well, I don't know what happened. Shit's crazy. We got, 2,800 people living on this post, I don't know. And I knew he was gonna, go crazy, and start going up the chain, and people ask questions, and then you have people looking at serial numbers, and people getting fucking fried. But I already had the, combat loss packets already made, and I'm like, sir, I understand. You're on the hook. You're fucking freaking out. Your commander's freaking out. But I have the combat loss packets already made, and I handed it to him. And he's like, and you can see the tension level go from like a 9.5 to like a 6. He's like, all right, cool. Well, I got to call my commander. I'm like, okay. So I'm in the room, and he's calling his commander. He's like, yeah, man, they're fucking fucked. They're totally destroyed. Got hit with mortars and shit. I don't know what to tell you. And I hear the commander like, fuck, god damn it. He goes, I'll bring the paperwork, but they're done. They're gonna fucking scrap them here and drag them to victory, to the fucking scrapyard. Okay, well, at least we don't have to do it. And he's like, Matt Sergeant, we're a go at this station. And he fucking walks right out the door. Fucking, I put the whole fucking fire out before it even went crazy. We got the parts we needed. Shit fucking got done. I mean, unfortunately, there's the supply chain and then there's the NCO chain. And sometimes you gotta have the NCO chain working a little extra to get things done.
Want to retire someplace on the planet where the women look like this? I thought you did, but if you want to know how, first you need to go to MGTOWbooks.com and purchase MGTOW's Guide to Retiring on 200K in Southeast Asia. Don't forget to use the promo code POPP, that's P-O-P-P, for 10% off. A link is in the description.
Oh, you're gonna love this. So I had to go to all of the briefings that were given every night in regards to what was going on. I had 2 briefings actually. One was the intel dump. I got that in the morning, and then I went to the one in the BUB, which is a battle update brief every evening for the entire fucking place. And I remember I'm sitting there, in the fucking deal, and I got my little book, and they're talking, wah, 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 wah. And then, you know how these things go. Like 90% of what they fucking talk about is worthless, stupid, revolves around ego, or is, some kind of vain, prideful thing, which I don't really have any time for that. And then, they'll say some fucking shit, and you're like, oh, you'll snap in, and you're like, oh, yeah. And I'm sitting there, and the fucking colonel from the hospital, he's like, I'm having a rash of pregnancies. I have to send, 8 nurses home. And I'm like, well, somebody's getting fucking cuffed and stuffed at night, I guess. So, I mean, these women that were in this hospital unit, they're working in a combat hospital. Combat hospitals are always put somewhere near the front where combat takes place. And it just so happens they're working within the walls of the prison, and we're experiencing combat 3 to 5 times a day, and they're not happy about it. And so they're doing the golden ticket, and they're getting fucking knocked up. They get fucking sent back to the fucking States with nothing but a slap on the wrist, and the penis that was responsible for it gets fucking ran up the flagpole. Kicked out of the service, given Article 15s, even court-martialed. It's so unfair, I mean, the whole thing just pissed me off. And again, the colonel was like trying to get me to post guards out in front of this fucking place, to keep people from going in there. And I'm like, no, if you can't control your own people, sir, I don't know what to fucking tell you. You are the commander. Command. Handle your business. Well, he didn't like that. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Okay, and then I did, down the road when I became the first sergeant, I did interdict a few of my guys from going over there and fucking up their lives. Okay, so this happened like 3 or 4 times around Abu Ghraib prison during the year my unit was there. And it was basically an Apache. They called out an Apache and it smoked a bunch of people that were, either massing for combat operations or about to, conduct some fucking shit. And this one, had taken place, and it was about 3 blocks from the prison. I'm trying to remember, it's down past the mosque, so you really couldn't see it, from the walls of the prison. But they were staging a bunch of fucking dudes to fucking go do their deal. And the Marine QRF had went out there, and there was some shit going on. And I got called out there just, to assess the situation. And they had called an Apache, and I actually watched this Apache vaporize probably 15, 20 fucking dudes. It was insane. There was a whole pickup truck full of armed dudes, RPGs, the whole fucking deal. And it just got lit up, and you could see the red vapor of blood just it turned into pink mists as they were just getting ripped apart. And they had another ZSU-23 too in one of their trucks, and they had a car bomb which the Apache got, and that took out a lot of their people too. And I was about 200-300 meters back watching the whole thing, and I was shocked at how fucking creepy and how efficient that goddamn helicopter was, man. It didn't fire any rockets. It was all canyon work. It was, I don't know. It was fucking insane. And then, the Marine QRF is like, we're not going to have to pick them up, are we? I'm like, fuck no, break contact. Nobody got hit. No, it was all good to go. And it is what it is. I mean, if you have the tools, you fucking use them. You fight smarter, not harder. All right. It would have been better if the Marines didn't actually decide to get into like a little bit of gunplay in the beginning and just called the Apache and waited. But, asking, 0311 Marines not to fucking get trigger time is like trying to ask Jesus Christ to come back. They're gonna fucking, it's just not gonna happen. They are not gonna engage. That's what they do. That is their one and only fucking job. They're trained for that, and that's what they do. And maybe that has something to do with why they take so many casualties. I don't know, but it is what it is. Okay, we had a couple of EOD call-outs. One was a car bomb that we had, when I used to do the tower thing in the morning and look at the pictures, and I went out there and we fucking found a car bomb. It had been almost completed, and they'd ripped everything out. It was filled full of artillery shells, and the guy was supposed to drive on an egg crate, kind of thing. There was nothing in there. I saw that, I was like, holy fuck, we all pulled back because they could be rigged, by command detonation, not by internal detonation. And sometimes they had both. From the intel dumps I was getting, they would basically, give the suicide bomber the button to, go from the inside, or they would rig it to the bumper. And then they would have a third one that was remote detonated in case the guy lost his nerve, and they would just fucking boom, they'd blow him up. We called EOD, and they came out with their funky robot and fucking and they didn't even fuck with it. The funky robot put a bunch of fucking C4 under the vehicle, and we all pulled back and watched it go, poof. And it was like, you take an empty coffee can, you punch a hole in it, you put a firecracker in it, and it flies up in the air. That's exactly what fucking happened. It went up in the air, maybe about 30 or 40 meters, and then all of the shit inside the car was like, boom, and threw fucking bits of car everywhere. It was quite impressive. And we went in there and we tried to find out who built it, and of course nobody knew nothing, and blah blah blah. So what are you gonna do? But it is what it is. And then we got called out. I want to say it was a milk factory that they had set up nearby, or maybe it was a baby food plant. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But they were doing one of the CA teams was doing an event near there, in which helped basically hand out soccer balls and bullshit like that. And one of them was outside, looked inside through one of the gates, and saw them unloading bags of ammonium nitrate. Well, I don't think you use ammonium nitrate in baby food. So he didn't say nothing, at the time. He comes back, and it goes up the chain. And then at the intel briefing the next morning, I get told the deal that there's a fucking IED factory, and it's in the city proper. It's within 1 mile of the prison, so I have visibility on it. So I mean, I'm just like, okay, cool. They're gonna come fucking blow the fucker up. Well, I get a call from the SF guys on the hilltop, because they now have visibility on it, and they're like, yo, Pop, you need to build us a fucking target folder on this so we know what the fuck's going on. And I'm like, God damn it. Okay, so I had to go out there with the QRF, and we held back. We basically counted people going in and out, and what, the vehicles that were going in and out. We tried to get plate numbers. We took a bunch of fucking pictures. And where they were actually putting up guards at night that were walking the perimeter. We filmed all that shit. And then I just fucking burned it on a fucking disc, rolled up the victory, handed it off to those guys. Of course, I got my fucking eggs to order in the general's mess, and had lunch there, hung out at the PX yard, talked to some people because I hadn't seen them in a while. There were a lot of nice people there. And then I rolled back to victory. And I believe the next night, the little birds were swarming all over that place. And the next day, not a soul went in there, and not a soul came out. What a bummer. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, I had a phone call. I don't even know how long this one is. So, you know, you guys take it easy. Till next time.